Hello and welcome to another replay cast from the Sakura Spring Championship in Shogun 2. This is Battle 1 in a best of 3 series played between PrussianPrince in the black and red banners and C4 in the gray banners. Map is Kanto Plains, which was picked by PrussianPrince. We do have a Sword Dojo and an Archery Dojo here. And I did watch this series before, rather quick though, on triple speed, just to get a general sense of how the battles will develop. So this is perhaps going to be a little bit different to how I usually commentate replays, because usually I do go in blind. But as for usual, I'm just gonna go over the builds. And interesting to note here is that both players are going for a very similar approach when it comes to the build composition. So quite curiously for PrussianPrince, or not curiously, but interestingly, he does bring 5 very good sword units. So he does have a Waker Raider rank 6 going for the Sword Dojo, and 4 Nodachi rank 2. So a very strong sword core, which can be easily buffed with the retainer. Then he does bring 2 matchlocks, one of the Matchlock Warrior Monk rank 5, extended range, and the other one being a Matchlock Sam. Then just a bunch of attendants to bolster up the infantry core. And calf-wise, he's also quite strong, I would say. 2 Yari calf and the light calf on the left side, 2 more Yari calf and 2 more light calf on the center right. And the Yari calves do have quite a few upgrades, so ranging from rank 2 to rank 4 and rank 6. And his general is a leadership gen with bow enabled. And as I said, composition-wise, C4 is going for a very similar idea. So he also has a sword core consisting of mainly Nodachi. So he has 4 Nodachi, also on rank 2. But big difference here is there's no 5th sword in the form of Waker Raider. So there he's down 1 unit in terms of sword versus sword comparison. And then he also brings 2 matchlocks, although also cheaper matchlocks, so both unvetted Matchlock Ashigaru, and the whole thing bolstered by some Nagi attendant protection, and also 2 Yari Ashigaru, one of them being Long Yari Ash, which I guess is also another small difference to PrussianPrince's build. So 1 less sword unit, cheaper matchlocks, which means that he has put a little bit more money into his cavalry, at least into the upgrades of his cavalry. I think he has the same number in total as PrussianPrince. So he does have a Fire Calf, rank 6, very expensive, with 22 attack. Yari Calf, rank 6 on the right. On the left he has a Yari Calf, rank 6 as well, with a Light Calf. In the center another Yari Calf, rank 4. And hidden on the left side on the forest patch, 2 more vanilla Light Calf. It's quite common to hide stuff here, although given that the most important dojos here on C4's right, I think these are not going to be hidden for long, and he will have to move them up rather quickly. And his general, like PrussianPrince's general, is also a leadership gen, although without bow enabled and some more stats in melee. So the comparative disadvantage is quite clear here. C4 does have the calf advantage, and PrussianPrince does have a slightly stronger infantry. Although we do have to look at the infantry a little bit more closely here, because and this is one thing that I really noticed when I first watched this replay. Compare these Nodachi rank 2 from C4 with these Nodachi rank 2 from PrussianPrince. And mind you, this is before anyone has got control of the Sword Dojo. So we do have Nodachi rank 2, 15 attack for C4, and Nodachi rank 2, 19 attack for PrussianPrince. And this is a huge difference, which only increases the sword disadvantage that C4 already has number-wise. So what explains this? Usually A regular Nodachi without any upgrades should have 14 attack. If you use the Swordmaster Retainer +2, they should have 16 attack. And if you have it on rank 2 and both upgrades are on melee attack, a Nodachi rank 2 with Swordmaster should have 20 attack. That's usually what you should aim for. And then you also have to factor in retainers that might come into effect, retainers that might be played against you. So usually players do play with the World Weary retainer, which gives, among other things, -1 attack debuff on enemy veterans, which explains why Prussian Prince's Nodachi have only 19 attack instead of 20, which is what they should have normally. But it doesn't explain why C4 has only 15 attack. Or I think there are some other retainers at play here. I think the most likely explanation here is that Prussian Prince uses Fugukuk against C4, which gives an additional -2 sword attack. And I think C4 might not be using Swordmaster here as a retainer. So I think that explains the gap of 4 attack. He got the -2 from Prussian Prince, and he decided to opt against the +2 buff in his own retainer setup. And I mean, a discrepancy of 4 attack in a matchup of units that should in theory be of equal strength is, I think, a very big factor here. And it's going to be difficult for C4 to make up the difference just through the CAF advantage that he has here. So I think this was good anticipation from Prussian Prince, because he probably thought, okay, I'm going to play with the sword build because the sword build is very strong here, and because it's so strong, I am going to assume that my opponent plays also with the sword build, so I might as well use the Fugukuk retainer. Yeah, which just shows that he really thought this through, I think. But yeah, it's going to be interesting how C4 tries to make up for this disadvantage. He's obviously going in very aggressive here with this cavalry. Yari Cav against Fire Cav, both on rank 6, direct matchup. This should, in theory, be in favor of the Fire Cav, although there's some infantry nearby, which is going to support the fight much earlier than C4's infantry. And here, very similar usage of Yarikav rank 6, super aggressive in the beginning, which gives C4 some time to push up with his own infantry. But I think these Nodachi are a bit too far away. I don't think they will be able to capitalize on this and get a clean charge into this blob, because I think C4's cavalry might die before they arrive. So in theory, I'm always a big fan of aggressive cav maneuvers, but I think this was a bit too early. I think the timing wasn't quite right. And he also has to be careful here, because he, with a move like this, he's basically negating his own cav advantage very early on in the game. And I'm not sure that this is strategically a wise idea. Although here he has a pushing up with his long Yari and spear wall, and Prussian Prince is just going straight in with the cavalry. This just looks like a miss micro. Maybe he has a attack order on a different unit. I think he might have given an attack order on the Nodachi and didn't see that there was a long Yari in between. Which explains why he still got some kills here, so it wasn't catastrophic. But already this engagement here is going to be quite messy. This is very difficult to cast what's happening here, because it's hard to judge who got better chargers in what case. What matters in these situations usually is just stability, morale, and we do see C4 here. Is his general actually in combat, or is he just getting... Oh, he went into combat with his general, but he's now getting off the horses, going into stand and fight, which I think is a good choice. You need your general in stand and fight as early as possible. It looks a bit messy here from Prussian Prince's perspective now. For one thing, I mean, his general is in stand and fight now too, which is good, but he's already caught in melee. And On his left flank, we have some units routing, although it's Yarikav Nagi tendons. It's not just Sword Corps that's running away just yet, but you just always have to be mindful here, because every routing unit impacts the morale of other units, so it can easily devolve into a mass rout. But he still has 2 swords here, holding with Banzai, which is always useful. And here he just has to get his matchlocks and his Cav out of the mix. His general is going to survive for a bit on 27 men and stand and fight. They're quite resilient. And there's another Nodachi here on 117 men. So I think this is not as bad as it looks, even though it looks chaotic. I think this is quite comfortable for PrussianPrince. And in the center, this looks rather uncoordinated from C4. These Matchlock Ash, 0 kills, and it doesn't look like that's going to change very soon, because they're in a very awkward position. And I mean, then we do have some standard combat here between Nodachi, but as I explained earlier, but this is actually a fight between Waikos and Nodachi. This should be very much in favor of PrussianPrince now. He also got already 56 kills out of his Matchlock Warrior Monks, which is, I think, quite important, because Matchlocks are quite difficult to make use of, especially when you're playing with rush builds. So nice that he already got some of his money back for that unit. This Matchlock Sam didn't have as much of an impact just yet, got charged by Light Cav. We have to see how that develops, but now I think we see a move from C4 that probably is a little bit too late, in that the 2 Light Cavs that were hidden in the forest patch are just now getting into the back of PrussianPrince. Why am I saying that this is too late? Because we're already kind of at the stage where there's not a lot of pressure in the center and the flank from PrussianPrince's point of view, so it's much more comfortable for him now to reorient towards his back and to shift his micro to defend against these Light Cavs. And if these Light Cavs had come in, I think at the point in time where the melee blob in this forest patch developed, I think this would have been much more difficult for PrussianPrince to fend off. This is a nice move by PrussianPrince. These Yariki with the support of the Matchlocks are going to just kill off this Light Cav. Other Light Cav is going to get into the Matchlock Warrior Monks, which is then again a very good use of that unit. I think these Matchlock Warrior Monks are going to die. But overall we see that not just in the power bar, but just in the development of all 3 flanks basically, that the strength of C4's build is waning more and more by the minute. Doesn't have the fighting power to really have it or stand a chance in the prolonged melee fight, I think. And even on this very left side, where it looked rather good for C4 in the beginning, he now only has 1 Matchlock Ash holding up the forest. So in the end, even PrussianPrince's Nodachis alone did turn around this fight. And yeah, there's not much more to say here about this. I think in the end, I'll have to look at the unit stats in the end, but I think all these Nodachis will have quite a decent amount of kills and will have paid for themselves. There's even a full unit here, which he didn't really have to use yet. 120 men Nodachi, basically a reserve unit. And yeah, I think that's it. No one got the Sword Dojo during the whole battle, because I think there was too much fighting going on in the near vicinity. But yeah, PrussianPrince didn't really have a need for it, because he already had the huge melee attack advantage. He just had to make sure that C4 doesn't get it, which was enough, I think, to get him over the line. And yeah. So overall, I think better build plus retainer composition, I think, from PrussianPrince, coupled with the fact that C4, I think, was a bit too premature with his Cav. I think he used the Cav too much like an infantry, because there wasn't a lot of flanking charging in, charging out, pulling out, running around with his cav. He basically just used his cavalry on this forest patch like the first line of infantry, just going in once and then keeping the cav in until the cav died, and that's basically no different than you would use an infantry unit. And so in that regard, I think C4 lost his cavalry advantage, which he had on paper very early on, or he gave it away in exchange for something that wasn't really that decisive. I mean, it was disorderly, and in a sense that was successful. Like, it looked really chaotic for PrussianPrince in the beginning, but it was always something that was manageable, I think. He was never really that close to a mass rout, I think. Waker Raiders, 180 kills, it's very impressive, especially since I think most of these kills came against Nodachi. And yeah, all the other Nodachi that were engaged in combat got a decent number of kills. Yeah, just one unit that didn't really have to do much. And PrussianPrince's cav was used much more reactively, which is something that he needed to do, because again, he had a weaker cav, so you can't really be that aggressive with it. You have to just use it to counter with ideally some infantry support, which he did quite well. I like the aggressive moves with the long Yari, at least from what I saw in the beginning. I don't know how they died in the end, but 92 kills is still okay, I guess, especially for a level 1 unit. But I don't know if having it on level 1 is a good idea, because at level 1 they are affected by World Warrior Retainer, so they get the debuffs, which might even offset the one upgrade that they have. So it's something to keep in mind. Also with this regular level 1 Yari, you could end up in a situation where your unit has worse stats than on level 0 because of that retainer. But either way, I think this was a very interesting game. And I'll just make a cut here, and we'll just go straight to battle number 2, which is on C4's map pick. And welcome back to game 2. We are here on Chugoku River, which was picked by C4, and as you can see, I already have fast forwarded a little bit to the actual position that the engagement starts on, because there was a lot of deployment and moving around and shuffling around in the beginning. And I also know that this is going to be a rather long battle, so I will probably have to use double and triple speed a lot here. But first thing first, I'm going to go over the dojos. So on this island over here, which is controlled by C4, we do have a farmhouse and a workshop. Workshop probably more important here. And for PrussianPrince, he does have the archery dojo, which, given the builds that both players bring, is actually much more useful than usually. But yeah, more on that later. So, what does C4 bring? On his left side, in this forest patch, which is quite useful, I think he does have a Matchlock Ash on rank 2 with Yari Ash rank 3, sorry. And on this left flank, he does have a Yari Sam on vanilla and a Fire Cav rank 6 with a Yari Cav rank 6. So just like in game 1, very expensive rank 6 heavy Cav. In the river, he does have a second Matchlock, also on rank 2. I wonder where he put the upgrades into. Looks like he put it into accuracy. I think maybe perhaps accuracy and morale, because the armor buff is from the workshop. Either way, then he has 2 more Yari Ash also on rank 3 behind. Now this is interesting, Bo Ashigaru. It's their third one. Yeah, he has 3 Bo Ashigaru in total, all on rank 3. Then Is there more skirmish here? Yeah, a 3rd matchlock on rank 2. And then for his infantry corps, he does bring a bunch of lone swords. I think it's 4 lone swords on Bonsai and another long Yari Ash. So they did a veteran refresh, which explains why he does bring this unit again after he already had it in on Kanto Plains. Of course, this is a very big army. I'm not going to count now, but I assume this is 20 units. Very cheap, especially with the Ashigaru retainer, which reduces the cost of Ashigaru units by 10%. So this is quite effective, these type of builds, because of that. And yeah, there's a slight skirmish here, but again, I know this is going to be a very long battle, so nothing decisive is going to happen here. Let's just go over the rest of the calf. There is no, this is the Yarikav, I think, that I already talked about, I assume. So then he also just has one more light calf in addition to his leadership gen. I think that's kind of it. Then going over PrussianPrince's builds. He obviously went for the other island. There's some more uncovered units here now. So calf first, he does bring 3 light calf with a leader gen, again unchanged, so with bow enabled. And I think that's it. So a very boxy and infantry heavy as well. So again, just like on Kanto Plains, very similar ideas on what to do here on this map. Which of course means heavy calf disadvantage, much more so than in game 1 for PrussianPrince. And because he is at such a disadvantage, I'm not sure this is a good idea to sacrifice his 2 light calves this early on. Trying to pull them out here now. Not sure if he's going to save much or if it's going to be cost efficient in the end. It looks more like he's going to lose at least one of his 2 calves. Then infantry wise, let's see. Let's start with the Daikyu Samurai, rank 5, 200 range. Obviously a slightly different approach to C4. So 1 Daikyu with extended range versus 3 Bow Ash, which of course only standard 150 range. Then matchlock wise, I think there's only 2 units. So matchlock Warrior Monk extended range, matchlock Ash extended range. So again here outnumbered when it comes to matchlocks, but much better matchlocks quality wise. And as for his infantry corps, oh wait, there's a 3rd matchlock, also extended range. So he's actually superior to C4 in that regard. But infantry wise, he is much weaker. So Yari Ash rank 6, Yari Ash rank 6, Yari Ash rank 5, Yari Ash rank 5, Bulletproof Sam rank 6, and then 2 more Yari Sam, both on rank 4. Yeah, this looks rather difficult. Like it's hard to imagine like what tool he's gonna use to kill off these Lone Sword Ash with Banzai. It's certainly not gonna be the Yari Ashigaru that are gonna kill them off. And he doesn't have the cavalry capabilities either. So yeah, his matchlocks really have to make a difference here. Otherwise, I think this is going to be very difficult. I'm not sure if they try to read each other's moves here. I guess not, because I don't think they've played each other before. But like from an outsider's or from a spectator's perspective, it looks like C4's build is pretty much a counter to PrussianPrince's build. Not just because he went for a similar approach but with more swords, but because I think having 3 Bow Ashigaru is actually kind of a smart counter to a Daikyu. Because for this Daikyu now, it's going to be rather difficult to find a good target to fire at, because I mean these are all just basically just a bunch of cheap units. And with a Daikyu, especially when a Daikyu is firing at units in the forest, you really have to kind of manage your ammunition and pick and choose your targets, and sometimes perhaps even decide against firing at someone because it might not be worth it. That being said, and this is why the archery dojo again is relevant, in theory, Prussian Prince has the option of just getting or firing all his ammo and then moving this Daikyu to the archery dojo and then refilling the ammo. Of course, only works in theory, because C4 could also at some point decide to attack this archery dojo and try to deny it. But right now, I think C4's biggest problem in theory is a Daikyu with endless ammunition. Other than that, I think things are looking quite well. He already killed some light calves for Prussian Prince. Looks like the third light calf is now going to die. I don't know what he's doing here. Like, this is a suicide commando. I don't understand this move, but I don't know. Is there something he tried to nick here? Maybe he tried to get into the matchlock and didn't see that there was much more hidden. I'm not sure. But I think now, yeah, Prussian Prince is down to only one calf unit, which is going to be a problem. Of course, when you're this tightly boxed in, you can afford to go into stand and fight relatively early on, which he's doing here, which is quite nice. But yeah, of course, now positionally, C4 does have the initiative here. Even if at some point Prussian Prince decided now is the good time to attack, I'm not sure he would be able to do much. Because whenever he broke out of this box, there's some very strong calf, 2 heavy calf units on rank 6 for C4 that are ready to pounce. And also it's much more difficult to be aggressive with the Yari Ashigaru core, because once they're out of formation, they're much more, of course, susceptible to being caught by sword units. Yeah, but as I said, I mentioned before in the cast for Battle 1, I have watched this before on triple speed, and even on triple speed, this was still a very long battle. So even though they're constantly firing at each other, there's some light skirmish. I think, yeah, the Daikyus are now refilling their ammunition. They're already in 170 kills. Overall, we can see that some of Prussian Prince's units are already taking lots of damage. Yari Ash rank 6, already down 100 models. Here, down 40 men. And let's see if there's something else. Let's see how's it looking like for C4. Matchlock Ash were targeted by the Daikyu. Some collateral damage, I think, from the Bow Ash. But this is all, like, none of this really matters too much for C4. These are not the units that are going to win him the game in the end. I think C4 tried to get into the Matchlock Ash here for a moment. It was a good attempt. Of course, this Bulletproof is the one unit that he can afford to be a bit more aggressive with and to try to arrest a little bit, because it's just super tanky, very valuable. But he has to be careful, because they're not fully bulletproof, and over time they are going to take a lot of damage from even Matchlock Ashigaru. Let's see where the Daikyus are firing at now. Again, now the Daikyus are still targeting the Bow Ash, which I understand why he's doing it, because the Bow Ash are slowly chipping away at all these infantry units for Prussian Prince. But still, it's not ideal, because these are not the units that you want to target. But being boxed in like this, he's really lacking other options right now, which is, I think, a big problem for him. I mean, look at this, just infantry units being shot down, and you can't really react much other than move them around a little bit, which is super annoying from his perspective. It's not a comfortable position to be in. I think now he's tried to go for a cheeky shot against his calf. Let's see if... Okay, his Matchlock Ash did take a little bit of damage, but I think this was overall a good move for PrussianPrince. I think this Fire Calf, this is going to be very costly. Great reaction from PrussianPrince. This was very good, I think. At the same time, some Light Calf tried to get in the Daikyu. I think it was also blocked, so I don't think they lost a man here. Yeah, third time's the charm. I think now C4 got into the matchlocks. Again, it's not a super clean charge. Lost maybe a couple men here. Of course, C4 is trying to make use of his calf advantage here, trying to find some gaps, but I think this is a bit too early. I don't think he needs to do it. Honestly, I think at this point C4 can just go in with his lone swords, use the little bit of spear protection that he has to cover their advance from the matchlocks. And even now, without the factor of the cavalry, I think C4 can just wipe out PrussianPrince or roll him up from the flank just with his sword power alone. He has to, of course, get his general up close, get into stand and fight to boost the morale of these lone swords, which can be quite shaky. But I think he is already he can just overpower him already. I mean, the power bar tends to agree here that this is already very much in C4's favor. But I also understand why he's a bit more reluctant. I mean, he's down 1-0. He really doesn't want to make a mistake here. Because if he loses this game, then yeah, he lost the best of 3 series. So I understand why he's cautious. Also, these bulletproofs, they are not going to enjoy life here against 2 lone sword units. Yes, it's a good bait for these Matchlock Warrior Monks to fire into the blob. But it's kind of the one good unit PrussianPrince has left when it comes to melee. And yeah, C4 now pulling out, I think wisely, to bait these bulletproofs a little bit further in. Let's see where the Daikyus are. 195. Okay, they didn't get too many kills after they refilled ammunition. I wonder if they've been firing or not the whole time. But he really needs to keep them in the game, keep them firing, even if it's just Yariash. I just noticed I forgot to update the scoreboard. I'd have to tap down real quick. I mean, I do have time. That's a good thing about this battle. I can just tap out and I won't miss anything. When you play with a build like this, I'm also struggling to imagine how units like these Yarisams are going to pay for themselves, because they're really more suitable to mobile builds. They have less, I would say, defensive capabilities, because if you just put them into block against swords, they're going to die so quickly. So I don't think, of course, I don't know if PrussianPrince planned for the battle to develop in this way, but if he did, then I think Yarisams weren't an ideal choice. I think even Naginata Sams would have been more suitable for this kind of box. Let's have a look at the kill counts. 115 for this bow ash. This is super cost efficient here. I don't know how cheap they are on level 3, but they can't be that much. Let's have a Look at the other units. 62, still very good, I think. 59, yeah. Of course, Prussian Prince knows that he's at a big disadvantage here, so tries to take a few more risks, tries to cross the river here, which I understand. But c4 takes the conservative approach, just falls back on one side, because he knows he doesn't need to engage here. But I still think c4 needs to take the initiative himself here, just to allow himself to time the attack from both sides much better than if he were to just react to Prussian Prince's maneuvers. Also like this move here with the Yarikav, try to deny the archery dojo. But again, I don't know how much ammo the Daikyu have currently, because they're not firing for some reason, and I don't know why. I mean, the whole time that he had the archery dojo, they should have been firing, because technically they do have endless ammo. Same actually for the general. I mean, general does have bow enabled. I mean, it's not a full bow gen, but it's still decent skills, like reload 55, accuracy 45, of course buffed by the archery dojo, but only now on 4 kills, and I think he forgot about it, like general wasn't firing up until now. I mean, how much kills will he get through this general realistically? Like, if he shoots at Yari Ash, maybe he gets 100, 150 kills. It's not going to be a game changer, but it's still not nothing. Chasing off the Yari Cav, good idea. And now the Daikyu is back to firing. And now this is again a bit more comfortable for Prussian Prince. But I'm gonna go triple speed here again. Because, I mean, structurally things haven't changed. I still think if c4 goes in here, there's really not much Prussian Prince can do. And I think this might actually be the moment where c4 tries to go for it. Long Yari Ash on the first line of defense, going in without spear wall. Maybe a slight micro mistake, but I don't think it matters too much. And now things are getting super tight and congested for Prussian Prince's matchlocks. I mean, he has all 3 matchlocks turned towards one side, so they get like 1 or 2 volleys, and those are really good volleys. But now that, after c4 crosses this river, it did take a lot of damage, like 50 men lost for the lone swords, 100 men lost for these lone swords. But now that he's crossed the river, where is Prussian Prince gonna put these matchlocks? There's really no space for them to safely fire from. Some general on general action here, also nice to see. And yeah, there's really not much Prussian Prince can do here. These are sword attendants, they're negligible. These long Yari Ash, yes, they're tanked frontally, but they also have units in the back, so they're not gonna hold for long. Yeah, routing at 80 men. It's just for a couple seconds, like after these matchlocks fired their volleys, the power bar went back to 50-50, but this was a mirage, I think. The moment that c4 decided he's gonna push, I think this battle was over. So I'm gonna go triple speed here. I mean, it's weird to say that a Daikyu on 240 kills is underperforming, but I think factually you have to say it, because he couldn't really fire at high value units, and he didn't fire the entire time, even though he did have the archery dojo. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of kills, but I think he could have gotten more out of the unit. Matchlocks, I think, did okay-ish. But again, just like the bows, they have the same problem. Like, when you're playing against a build with like lots of high-value melee units, high-value archers, high-value matchlocks, then you get something nice to fire upon, and even a single volley can be quite decisive. But if you're playing against an Ashigaru spam build, and it doesn't really matter that much. like one volley, you're gonna kill a couple Ashigaru, and then you have to do like 4, 5, 6 more volleys for the unit to pay itself. And it's really hard to get that many good volleys out of your skirmish units, especially in tight areas. So yeah, unsurprisingly, Lone Sword's really cleaning up in the end. But I think the MVPs really here were the Bow Ash from C4. Again, I don't know if he read the build from PrussianPrince, if he knew he was gonna be up against a Daikyu, but I think this bringing a couple low-level Bow Ash is a very good counter for these DLC bows. Again, cav-wise, he could have done better, I think. Kind of threw it away in some cases, but it didn't really affect the outcome. Yeah, but I think PrussianPrince could have done without the Yari Sams, could have managed his cav better. But in the end, all in all, you also have to acknowledge that he was a little bit unlucky with the build, because I think C4 just had a good counter. Yeah, either way, very interesting. This equals the score to 1-1, and which means we'll have a tiebreak match on rice fields. So I'm just gonna hop into that third replay and see you there. And here we are on game 3, the tiebreaker match. On rice fields with a sword dojo and a workshop in the center, farmhouse on the right from PrussianPrince's perspective. Going over PrussianPrince's build, he does have, or does seem to bring a pretty standard sword build with some Nodachi. I assume it's going to be 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 Nodachi, again on 19 attack. For flanking units, he does have a bulletproof rank 6. Just like he had in Battle 2, so I think they did a VET refresh yet again. And another Yari Sam, although it's placed in the center, interestingly. And then cav-wise, yes, Fire Cav rank 6, Light Cav, Yari Cav rank 4, Yari Cav rank 6, 2 more Light Cav, 3 more Light Cav, so 4 Light Cav in total, 3 Heavy Cav, very strong in that regard. I like that for rice fields. Unchanged general leadership with Bone-abled. And for C4, we do have something completely different. This is once again an Ashigaru retainer build, so I assume he again has minus 10 cost for Ashigaru units, and just went all in. So let's just do a quick count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 Ashigaru units, 14 Ashigaru units. I have to pause this again. Yeah, mix of matchlocks, 2 of them extended range, some bow ash again. Interesting choice for rice fields, but it kind of already shows his intention that he's going to stay very compact and not open up too much. Some lone swords, although this time they are only on rank 6, so no Banzai lone swords, or 1 Banzai lone sword, so it's a bit of a mix now. So Yari Ash mostly on rank 2 or rank 3. Bulletproof rank 6, Long Yari, where is it? I saw it before. Long Yari rank 1 again. Nagi Warrior Monks rank 2, interesting. It's probably one of the most expensive units, and it only costs, I think, 960 on rank 2. Matchlock Ash back here, but he's gonna move that up rather quickly, because this really doesn't have any protection. He had it hidden in the beginning. Then Cav-wise, Fire Cav rank 6 and a Light Cav, and that's it. So Fire Cav, I think he brings it about every time. Very strong unit, of course. But yeah, this is a polar opposite approach, basically, to PrussianPrince. Going for the spear box, I would assume. Which is actually surprisingly effective, even on rice fields. So I always say that this is a very mobile map and you can rush a lot and play with a lot of cavalry. But this is of course a very versatile map. And it's not the first time that I see players going for a box here. I think I saw a match between TWR Dragon and RTK Aura, where I think Dragon also went for basically a noob box on rice fields in a tiebreaker match. So yeah, it happens more often than you would think. And of course, coupled with the dojo position here, I mean, C4 has neatly set up here between both of these dojos, meaning he might even get one or two, but he's definitely preventing PrussianPrince from getting them, and he is getting additional flanking protection from these dojos, which makes the overall angles of viable approaches for PrussianPrince very awkward. And I think this is a problem that PrussianPrince is grappling with right now. Bulletproof as a first line of defense going in, basically. Although even the bulletproofs, as I said before, not completely bulletproof. They did have to tank out a lot already. 20 men lost, and now they're trying to carve a hole basically in this line of Yari Ashigaru spear wall, which in isolation I think they will be able to do, but not with these lone swords coming in as a backup for this Yari Ash. I think C4 now has to move into standard fight sooner rather than later, but I think this is going to be an unsuccessful attempt to carve a hole. And but you have to say PrussianPrince is kind of out of options here. It's not like he has like option B, C, or D on things that he could do instead of just trying to go straight in and trying to find an opening, because his build is not really suitable for that. I mean, he's now pulling out these bulletproof. They're even routing as they're pulling out, but they will come back at 75 men. But I think right now PrussianPrince notices that he has a big problem. But again, I don't think it's going to go any better now. Now that he's taking the more cautious approach, because as time goes on, even these bow ash are going to do damage, and when PrussianPrince pulls back, these Matchlock Ashigaru will once again move in front of the Yari Ash and start firing. And the challenge is always, and I've said this so many times before in different replay casts where we had to deal with boxes, the challenge is always of trying to find openings for cavalry and prepping the cav to be in the right position at the right time in order to pounce and make use of openings. And this is really difficult here because C4 has a sufficient number of spears to block, and he always has a second line of Ashigaru units that are able to turn around and get supporting fire in against cavalry. And these matchlocks even function as a bait, because sometimes they make you think, okay, maybe I can get a cheeky cav in here, but then either you get fired upon or you get in, but you're not going to get that cav out, and it might not be a cost-efficient engagement against Matchlock Ash. So yeah, right now PrussianPrince is almost exclusively microing his cav, but I don't think he has gotten a cost-efficient engagement or charge here yet. This does look promising, this charge from the fire cav. Really nice into the back of the lone swords and the bow ash, but it was already on half strength before it got in. So still not sure. It's probably the best of the cav chargers so far. Now this is actually what you're looking for. This hammer and anvil move, no dachi against lone swords, and now these Yari cav in the back should rout off these lone swords, unless C4 pops Banzai. But just look at the quantity of units that C4 has on the battlefield, and this area is completely shut off with the spear wall. The flanks are protected from the dojos, and PrussianPrince's numbers in the back with the cavalry are getting thinner and thinner. Also, PrussianPrince now firing with his general instead of going into stand and fight, which is probably a good decision because in stand and fight he would get killed by these matchlocks. But this also brings up an interesting point. I think by now you can, I mean, everyone can see by now that this is not going to be a happy end for PrussianPrince. But I think what makes these kind of matches interesting is how different they could play out if the builds were only slightly tweaked. So right now I'm imagining if PrussianPrince, I mean, yes, he does have his bow-enabled gen, but if he only had one bow unit, maybe even only on level 1 with extended ammo, if PrussianPrince only had one bow unit in this setup, and maybe instead of 4 light cav, he had 1 bow cav and 2 light cav, I think this entire dynamic would change so much. I think that would actually force C4 into a very awkward position, forcing him to break out of his box and chase down PrussianPrince. And right now he had no pressure applied to do that. He was always in a very comfortable position here in the center, and PrussianPrince didn't really have any tools to harass. I mean, he could have just used his general as a bow unit, but again, I don't think it would have enough. It would be enough of a threat to really force C4 to let go of his box, which is what your main aim should be. Yeah, but I just think it's interesting to think about how just one unit in the setup could completely turn around this result, which right now looks like a super decisive win for C4. I'm just gonna fast forward here. There are some more charges, most of them frontal charges against spear walls, which of course are not going to be fruitful. And this is now just going to be the last stand for PrussianPrince. But yeah, there are some very interesting scenarios to think through. I think with the build that he had in the end, the build that he went for, I don't think he really had any chance to beat C4. He was also a bit unlucky with the dojos, because if there were like very important dojos spread out more, so if the outer dojo wasn't a farmhouse but maybe a sword dojo or a shrine, it would force C4 to prioritize one over the other, giving PrussianPrince the ability to get a free buff for his units. So there was also the element of just bad luck for PrussianPrince, but it was more of a minor factor, I think. I think the problem was more that, again, his build was countered quite nicely by C4. I don't think any of PrussianPrince's melee units are going to have too many kills. Well, it's actually fine, but you have to remember most of these kills are against level 2 or level 3 Yari Yashigaru, so nothing decisive. And again, Yari-Sam, just like in Battle 2, weren't really a factor here. And I think I missed the second Yari-Sam when I went over the builds. I think I only mentioned one of them in the bulletproof. Yeah, interesting. And this was a build, a battle that was just decided by build composition and by dojo placement. And yeah, sometimes that happens. It's still very interesting to see. And yeah, overall, I think a very interesting series. I definitely enjoyed watching it, and I will cast some more other matches from the tournament soon, probably also from both of these players. C4 obviously advancing to round 3, but PrussianPrince not out of the tournament. He will have to fight his way through the lower bracket. So yeah, I'm assuming that there will be some more battles from both of these players on my channel very soon. And until then, bye-bye.